My name is Nahla Kamaluddin. I'm the owner of Kamaluddin Law Firm. And my law firm, we do immigration law, business law, and blockchain law. The reason why I started my own law firm is because as a law student, when I was interning at different law firms, I always felt like I didn't really fit into the traditional law firm culture. The way I operated and the way I wanted to handle cases and things like that was different than everybody else. So it wasn't like the best experience for me. But then after I graduated, I was fortunate enough to be given the opportunity to work at the immigration law clinic. And at the time, I had the best mentor ever. She trusted me to kind of manage the law clinic. And I kind of ran it as almost like a mini law firm. So I was managing the students, supervising them, I was handling the cases with them. I had the discretion to choose and pick whatever clients I wanted and whatever cases I wanted to handle and how to go about the cases. And so that experience gave me the confidence to then be able to start my own firm. Because if you could handle a case from A to Z by yourself, then why not do it on your own rather than working for somebody else. So I would say I did face quite a few challenges when I first started. It wasn't as easy. When I started, it was during COVID, so I had the advantage of being able to do things remotely and not having to have an actual physical location or having to be at the physical location all the time. So I had to really quickly learn how to do things all online. So using the online softwares and processes and making it easier and more comfortable for my clients to have a remote or a virtual virtual experience with a lawyer. So it was a little bit challenging at first, but once I got a handle on everything, that became a lot easier. And actually a lot of my work now is remote, and I do things virtually. I use Zoom, I use online softwares for my clients. But the biggest challenge I would say is at the beginning, I didn't really have a lot of clients, but once I started getting traction and getting a lot of clients monthly, and as you guys know, specifically with immigration cases, do take a really long time to be resolved. And so clients always expect you to communicate, to update them, and it becomes more and more challenging the more you grow. But as I was able to hire more staff and figure out how to address that issue, it did become a lot easier for me to manage the law firm. So the way I'm able to balance, my law practice with the business side is by delegating. I always thought that, even though I run my own law firm, my main focus should be on the cases. And, even though I do have to also focus on the business side and the marketing, if the marketing and the business side is not perfect, I can live with that, but I can't live with not doing a good job when it comes to the cases and getting good results for my clients, because ultimately that is my profession. And I swore an oath to do a good job and to have my client's best interest at all times. So the way I dealt with it is that I delegate the business side. So I have people, that do the marketing for me, that do the website and all of that. So I'm okay with it not being perfect. I try to not, micromanage everything when it comes to the business side. With the legal side, I do have, staff and virtual assistants and things like that. But at the end of the day, more of a micromanager when it comes to dealing with the cases, because at the end of the day, it is my name that's going out on all these applications and all the work. And I do want to make sure that it is, as close to perfection as possible to protect my clients' interests. I would say the most challenging case was a case with this amazing family that I met. They're honestly like some of the best clients I've ever had. it was a doctor, and she had a husband who was also a doctor, and they're a family of refugees. And their sister was stuck outside of the country. So she came in as a refugee, left the United States, and applied to renew her travel document to be able to come back to the US, which she was allowed to do. You know, you're allowed to apply for a renewal of your travel document from outside of the US. And for some reason, her application got stuck. The office that was handling her application in Rome shut down, and they transferred everything to the US, and it's been stuck since 2018. And, you know, the reason why she left is because she was trying to finish her medical degree in Jordan. And she graduated, didn't have any more status in Jordan, couldn't come back to the US. Her entire family is in the US, so it was really taking a big psychological toll on her. It was really harming her psychologically. And so long story short, there's a lot of, details, but I had to travel all the way to Abu Dhabi airport to talk to the CBP pre-clearance officers there, and basically beg them and plead to them to do something to help her get approved. And I was able to get through to them, thankfully. And they were extremely helpful, even though she wasn't approved on the spot. I came back to the US, and a day later, I saw an email saying that everything was approved. So that was probably the most challenging case I've had, but it was extremely rewarding, because when I got that approval, how happy that family was and how grateful they were to me, because they've literally done everything. They had senators involved, they've tried to do everything they can and couldn't get a result. And I was able to do that for them. So it really felt good. So although it was challenging, it was a good result at the end, and I felt really, really good about the work that I did. The advice that I would give for lawyers wanting to start their own practice is do it. It is definitely worth it. Yes, it can be challenging, but you'll figure things out. There are a lot of solo practitioners, if that's how you want to start without a partner on your own. There are a lot of solo practitioners all around the US that are more than happy to mentor you, give you advice. So that's number one. Make sure that you have a good mentor that can help you and guide you along the way. Number two, I would say make sure that you have a good process in place. So figure out your intake process, figure out your client communication process, figure out how you want to end things with your clients. So all of these processes, it's really important to have them in place as you start, because it'll organize your practice internally. And then the last piece of advice I have is to hire help. You're not going to be able to do everything on your own. Starting out, maybe the first few months, yes, as you're building your name and you have more of a steady stream of revenue and steady stream of cases coming in, but then you'll quickly feel like you want to pull your hair out because you cannot do everything. So even having one virtual assistant or one receptionist to answer phone calls or respond to emails is going to help you tremendously.